It's time for the Brouhaha Sports Show. Brouhaha Sports with award-winning sports writer Dale McKee and co-host Marshall Wood. Talking sports with the legends of the game and famous sports personalities. Brouhaha! Now to Marshall and Dale with tonight's guest.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to tonight's edition of the Brouhaha. Marshall Wood with Dale McKee, ready to get it on again when it comes to talking sports. How you doing there, the chief number one sport?
Man, I tell you what, I feel like I'm 10 pounds heavier.
Well, you look good. You look svelte. That word, how do you spell svelte?
I have no idea.
You know what I'm saying, though, don't you?
No, not really.
You don't know what the svelte means?
No.
Like sleek and slender and shape, all that kind of stuff. Like a cat. You can sneak in and sneak out.
Have you been to an eye doctor lately? If you get your eyes checked out, because what you're saying, I just can't agree with.
Well, you look at yourself. You've been too hard on yourself.
I look at myself every day.
Don't be so hard on yourself.
I'm like, my goodness.
What a man.
Yeah.
My goodness.
Why would anybody want to be married to me?
Well, now, no, don't go there. Now you try to throw in a sympathy card out there.
There you go.
You're just full of turkey.
Yeah.
But you're not one.
There you go.
You're not a turkey.
No, I don't think so.
No. Can you gobble?
I don't think I could. Gobble, gobble, gobble.
Sounds that sounded pretty good.
I hear them sometime in the woods.
You hear the turkeys?
Yeah, every now and then.
You talking turkey?
Yeah.
I bet you talked some turkey last Thursday, didn't you?
Well, not very much.
It's hard to talk with your mouth full, ain't it?
Yeah, it is. It is. It is. It's definitely.
I can just see you gnawing on a big old turkey leg.
Oh my goodness.
Grinning from ear to ear. Grease all up the side of your head.
I have decided that I like the dark meat and I like a little gravy on my turkey.
Yeah.
You know, turkeys have a rare taste. If you got to almost, get you a little gravy.
You got to cook them till they're done.
Oh my goodness, yeah,
Rare.
but you got to have the right ingredients.
Yeah,
you got to have the right ingredients, and it's hard getting the right ingredients. Just right.
Yeah.
But I like turkey.
You pro turkey?
It puts me to sleep. I get a good nap.
It's probably it's probably not the turkey that puts you to sleep. It's probably all that other stuff you ingested that makes you sleepy.
That's true. Yeah.
We get full, we get sleepy, don't we?
Well, we do.
When you get full of knowledge, do you get sleepy?
I don't know if I've ever been full of knowledge. But I love chicken and dumplings too on Thanksgiving.
Do you have chicken and dumplings?
Oh yeah.
I can't eat dumplings anymore.
You can.
It's got gluten in them.
So
I can't eat no gluten.
Oh, it's got nothing to do with me.
Yeah.
I just keep on eating.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay then. What's going on in your sideline view? Anything?
I don't think there's anything interesting going on at all. I just know that these rival games, I've always heard that Ole Miss and State had a bitter rivalry, but after watching the highlights this weekend, we have no comparison to some of these cats.
Man, they've been planting flags and everything.
Oh my goodness.
What a mess.
Yeah, and
where are you on planting the flags?
Well, I'm old-fashioned, I guess, in a way, and I don't see any. If you lose, just walk off the field.
So it's okay to plant the flag because the ones that plant the flags win.
Well, you can plant the flag next year if you want to.
So, but you said if you lose, just walk off the field. But what if you win? Can you plant your flag?
Sure.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh, okay. I'm surprised at you, Dale.
You just lose, just come on.
Shut your mouth and get out of here.
I wouldn't do that in the pros. One guy got in trouble out in Dallas one year for, I don't know, spiking the football in the middle on the cowboy helmet. If you remember, it was a guy from the 49ers. Who's that wide receiver always gave everybody trouble?
Jerry Rice.
No, it wasn't Jerry Rice. It was this guy actually gave. He wasn't a real good personality. He was from over in Alabama somewhere.
So you're saying folks in Alabama ain't got a good personality? Is that what you're saying?
Well, this guy did, evidently. But, he was a great receiver.
Hey, for all our listeners in Alabama, man, Dale
one of the Cowboys came up and tackled him in the middle of that helmet in the middle of the field. The star, the logo, whatever what it is. I remember that's the only time I've seen it in the pros. But college is about atmosphere. It's about passion.
Yeah.
Let them have a little fun.
Let them have some fun.
If you want to plant your flag, you need to beat us at our house.
Yeah. If you don't want us planting it,
Yeah.
don't let us win.
Yeah, don't let us win.
If we win, we plant it
Yeah.
right in your face, make you like it.
Yeah.
So I was a little shocked, Dale. I thought you were a little more conservative than that. I'm tickled to death.
No, let them have some fun. I watched Michigan and Ohio State, and that was a pretty good one. And
Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Ryan Day,
Yeah.
they hollering for his head.
Oh no.
What do you think, they ought to fire him because he can't beat
Well, I think that now listen, I'm not a psychologist in any way, but I'm looking out there, and Ohio State to me had the better team. Michigan's playing with a walk-on quarterback. Two of their best players are not there, not even dressed out. How is this game getting like this? And I think that ever who it is, Ryan Day, the offensive coordinator, ever who it is, they are trying to be physical against Michigan. And that's Michigan's brand of football. Ohio State's kind of got away from it the last few years. They've had some great receivers, #1 draft choices, several. And they got a couple. They got one of the better freshman wide receivers in the country. And they're sitting there trying to run the ball, you know. And they got good running backs too. But in the end, Michigan beat them. Michigan won because they're more physical than Ohio State. Ohio State has become finesse.
Yeah.
They're a finesse school now. Yeah. And it's not Ohio State.
Well, so just do you think who's got a better chance of winning the national champion, finesse or power?
Well, I always go back to the running game. In any year, he who can run the ball's going to win the game. Michigan outrushed Ohio State the other day, and they said there was a 23rd straight year that the winner of that game has outrushed the other team.
Where was Quinshawn Judkins?
Well, he was in there. He was out there playing. I mean, Ole Miss could have definitely used him.
Yeah.
More than Ohio State did, for sure. But I don't know. It's just I can't really tell you. That's just Dale's opinion of that Ohio State needs to find their identity like the Chicago Bears. I mean, Chicago Bears, I don't know if they got an identity or not after that Thanksgiving Day game.
Yeah, they used to have the monsters of the Midway, baby.
Yeah, but look at all their coaches now. I've heard tales about the Bears being they're one of the they have less money than anybody in the NFL as far as going out and getting players. So I've heard this rumor from national sports writers that they're cheap, that they hire coaches that are not really, maybe quality coaches. And you look back the last 4 or 5 years, can you even name one of their coaches? The last one I ever remember was Levy Smith.
Yeah.
And before him was Dick Butkus, and in between
George Alice, I remember him.
Yeah, old George. But what I'm saying is that they needed identity too. The Bears did.
Yeah.
So Ohio State and the Bears need to get it they got a dynamic quarterback in the Bears, and they need somebody.
Who's their quarterback?
The Caleb Williams from USC.
Oh,
last year.
okay.
And they need to go to Washington and get that Cliff Kingsbury that was coached Caleb in college as offensive coordinator. He used to coach at Texas Tech, I believe. But anyway, I mean that's what I think these teams need to find it. And Ole Miss seems to be lacking that identity. What is Ole Miss? They used to throw it deep at the first season. Now they can't throw it deep anymore. They have a limited rushing attack. I don't know. I mean, their leading rusher in several of their games was a quarterback, which should not be.
Yeah. You asked what is Ole Miss, I'll tell you. They're done.
Yes.
They're done.
Yes, they're done.
And we're done with our first segment. We're about out of time, Dale. Yeah, who we got for our guest tonight?
Well, we got Tyler Clevland. We got the Mississippi High School football championships coming up down at the Rock in Hattiesburg. And we're going to talk to him about who's going to win, who's going to lose.
Tyler Clevland, he ought to know.
There you go.
Let's take a break from a sponsor, and Dale and I'll be back with tonight's guest, Tyler Clevland, right after this commercial break.
Phillips Building Supply in Laurel, your hometown building supply store since 1954. We are locally owned and pride ourselves on helping our customers find exactly what they need. From foundations to roofs to doors and windows, Phillips has it. For tools, hardware, lumber, and plywood, visit Phillips Building Supply.
Tyler, how is everything going in your neck of the woods?
Can't complain, Dale. Marshall, thank you guys so much for having me on. The weather has finally turned. It finally feels like football weather up here. Super excited about this weekend down in Hattiesburg, and really grateful to be joining you guys today.
Well, listen, tell us about what's going to go on in Hattiesburg. Okay, so let's just start off with the 1A game. What do we know about these two teams that's going to be in the 1A game?
Well, we got Baldwin, who's kind of a new face to this. I mean, a team that's always hanging around with a chance to get to the championships, kind of broke through this year. Had a big season. You look at their team, head coach Michael Gray, they've won some big games. They beat Biggersville 42-0 and Tupelo Christian 63-17. They have explosive offense. Also notch wins over bigger teams like Cassuth and Boonville during the season. I really like their quarterback, Dylan Johnson, thrown for 1,500 yards and 16 touchdowns. They got a really good running back, Terrell Robinson, 1,200 yards, 20 touchdowns. They got a couple of brothers on defensive side, Aiden and Braxton Stewart, that are just disruptors. I think Braxton's got 16 tackles for a loss this year. Their only loss was to East Webster, 55-6. They just had a bad night. But other than that, they've been rock solid. Facing a Simmons team that we just don't know much about. It's always hard pulling information out of there, but they're always competitive. They won their 3 playoff games by a combined score of 186-40. All I know is they're dominant. They beat the heck out of Velma Jackson 50-0 in the semifinals. So always expect them, you always expect a hard-nosed running game from them. And they always bring a couple of guys nobody's heard of, but then everybody's talking about at the end of the week. So I wouldn't expect any different from them this year. I think that's going to be a big 1A game. One of my favorite ones of the year to cover every year, man. It's always fun being down there on the sidelines when each team's only got about 25 guys, and everybody's playing both ways. So really looking forward to that one. Okay,
and back into our neck of the woods, not too far from our location, is Heidelberg and Charleston. And, of course, the Oilers were in there last year in the state championship games. What do you think about that, the 2A battle?
Well, I think it's a big rematch, I think and a lot of the familiar faces from last year. Charleston comes back. Head coach LaDon Taylor has brought back a couple of key players, including their big running back, Marcus Flowers, who had a big game in the state championship last year. He's run for 1,200 yards and 26 touchdowns here in his senior year. So I think they're going to be very formidable for Heidelberg. Of course, Heidelberg comes back. They've won convincingly over Raleigh 26-12 in the semifinals, and before that they beat Quitman. It's a big win for them, stepping up in competition. They got a really good quarterback, Chase Kraft, 1,800 yards, 21 touchdowns, only 5 picks. Their only loss was to Bay Springs, and that's a distant memory, so I think they're coming into the game with a full head of steam. But I'm really looking for this matchup. I think it's going to be, if it's exciting as it was last year, we're all in for a good show.
Yes.
I think these two teams are pretty evenly matched, so.
Oh, yeah, and it's always good to have, like with Heidelberg, Poplarville, and Hattiesburg in the Rock for this state championship. There should be a lot of people there. What about the Noxubee County? They're our 5-time state champs. They're one of the famous Highway 45 teams. What can you tell us about? And it seems like a newcomer in Choctaw County.
Yeah, it's a different kind of year in 3A. I'll tell you this, this Noxubee team, you ought to be familiar with that quarterback, Mario Taylor, the Mississippi State, long-time Mississippi State commit, has been exceptional for them this year. He has thrown for 2,700 yards and 39 touchdowns, only 6 picks. He's also the team's leading rusher, close to 1,200 yards and 16 more touchdowns. He's got a younger brother, Jaden Taylor, who is their leading receiver. Watch out for him. I mean, he's got 50 catches for 189 yards this year. But the thing about Knoxville is, they're going to play defense. I mean, I think they had the B.J. Payton is their big guy over there on that side of the ball. He's got a ton of tackles for a loss, but they have 149 tackles for a loss as a team. They're a team that likes to get after you in the backfield, and they do a really good job in stopping the run. So I'm expecting that to be a really good game. I don't know as much about Choctaw. Their coach, Dylan Mitchell, has done a great job with the team. They won some big games down the stretch, just beat Winona twice, and, beat East Webster in the semis 41-20. But the big name for them is the wide receiver, Caleb Cunningham. He recently flipped from Alabama to Ole Miss, but he is a generational wide receiver talent, maybe the best player, or at least the best senior wide receiver in Mississippi this year by far. And I'm hoping we all get to see him put on a show down at the Rock, because the highlights I've seen of him are ridiculous. I have not laid eyes on him in person this year as a senior, but I know that he has some crazy athletic ability, and hoping he gets a chance to show it off at the Rock.
All right, well, now the 4A game. This is kind of a little bit of a rematch because these teams have met before in Louisville and Poplarville. And, of course, everybody knows Louisville has probably the most state championships of anybody with a dozen. But I remember a couple years ago that Louisville and Jackson came from behind in the last minute, went for two, and ended up beating Poplarville 15-14. And
it was a great game.
Yeah, it really was. And after the game, one of the radio announcers for Louisville, he said, that 2-point play that we ran against Poplarville, we stole it from them, looking at film.
Add insult to injury, baby.
Now that hurts. that hurts, but you hear little things when you hang around the press box a lot like I try to do. Anyway, so tell us a bit about Louisville and Poplarville.
Well, Louisville is your typical Tyrone Shorter team. I mean, they're going to play defense and they're going to run the football. They've got a really interesting mix this year because they returned the quarterback, Key Jackson. He's a fantastic player. Also plays corner for them some. But their leading rusher is a kid named Zayden Jernigan, who's just a freshman. But he's run for 1,300 and almost 1,400 yards and 21 touchdowns. So I would expect a heavy dose of him. They want to control the clock, shorten the game, play good defense. And Poplarville is kind of a mirror image. The difference is the offense they run. They've played a little bit closer games down the stretch. They beat Forest 24-21 in the semis. And they've played pretty close games against Columbia and Macomb also in the playoffs. I know they got a good running back named Nick Miller, has run for over 1,000 yards, but they have 5 players with 400 more rushing yards this year. So they're going to come at you from different angles. You never know who's going to get the ball. It's going to be a big test for this Louisville defense. And one that you mentioned, they've risen to before, but this is a new group. And the big difference in Louisville this year is the defensive coordinator, Javancy Jones. He moved on after the season, so this is their first game in a while without him in the state championship. So I think it'll be interesting to see how they react, and I think they can. Obviously, I'm not going to bet against Louisville at this point. You'd be a fool. It'd be like betting against Tiger Woods in the '90s. But he's I think this is going to be a really good football game.
Oh, yes, I'm really looking forward to that game. Okay, and then one keen interest to a lot of our radio audience is West Point versus Gaucher, because I can guarantee you Wayne County teams have run into the West Point Green Wave a couple times, and it wasn't too nice, and ran into Gaucher the last couple times, and it hadn't been nice to us.
Well, Mark High's done a great job with Gaucher, and I don't know as much about them as you guys probably do, but I know that, the quarterback, Trey Irving, is a fantastic player. And, I think they won all of their 3 playoff games by a combined 9 points over Brookhaven, Wayne County, and Natchez, which suggests to me that they're comfortable playing in close games, which should help you in a state championship game like this that I do not see being a very high-scoring event. It just depends on West Point and what if they're able to control the clock. And you guys are should be familiar with them by now. They want to control the clock on the football, play the defense, very conventional football. If they're able to do that and shorten the game, then it could spell trouble for Gaucher. But if Gaucher is able to hit a couple of big plays, maybe get a lead, because that's how you can really put pressure on West Point by building a lead. If you get ahead, it kind of changes what they're doing, because they just want to run the ball. And if they can win a state championship without throwing the ball, you bet your butt they do it.
Yes, I think it's a different style. Marshall may disagree, but you got West Point just runs the ball downhill, and Gaucher's more like a finesse team. They're going to try to get the big play on you and things like that on offense.
I'll agree with that, but I tell you what, I haven't seen West Point play. Now, we played Gaucher a couple of times this year, and you get your ducks lined up, you can run the ball on them, and I imagine that Gaucher's going to have their hands full with West Point the way they run the football. I mean, they're going to play keep away from them, and we were able to do that a little bit last time we played them a couple of weeks ago. But West Point's a different animal than Wayne County right now, so I look for West Point to handle that one.
All right, so now we've got a team that has not won a state championship in 101 years. Now, what in the world is Hattiesburg playing Grenada for?
It's pretty exciting, man. I mean, it's rare that Hattiesburg gets to a state championship, and for it to be in Hattiesburg this weekend is just a big deal. And I know I've heard from many people who are, Hattiesburg alum who are coming back for this game. I really expect them to bring a big crowd. And man, Hattiesburg they're a great team. I mean, Tony Vance has finally got him a squad that they think can win a state championship. Of course, his son Deuce, the Mr. Football winner, is under center for him. There's really good talent. I think their best player may be the wide receiver Tristan Keys. He's ranked in the top 5 prospects at his position in his class. Of course, he's a junior. But Hattiesburg has been really good on defense all year. I know there are some questions. I think their top and second defensive linemen are probably going to be out for this game, which is not good because they're facing the Grenada team that has a great running back in McCaleb Taylor that has run wild. Of course, Michael Fair, the coach at Grenada, does such a good job. He was at Lafayette for many years and had a lot of success there. Now he's got Grenada back in the title game for the second straight year. So I think this probably will be the best game of the week, just if I was prognosticating. I think it is very evenly matched. You got to give Hattiesburg the edge because they're basically playing at home.
Yeah.
But Grenada doesn't care about that, I promise you. And they have a rushing attack that can go up against anybody.
Well, let me ask you one question, because you've seen probably as many of these state championship games that I have. But does it matter if you play there? Like last year, Grenada was there, and they lost to West Jones. But does it make a difference for them to have gone through this compared to what Hattiesburg is going to go through?
I think so. I mean, I think you just in the preparation. I mean, once the game starts, I think all bets are off. But I think in the preparation and in your mindset, I mean, you're used to arriving on the bus and going through the fans and the tunnel and just getting used to being in that kind of atmosphere. I think you kind of know what to expect a little bit more the second time through. Like I said, once the game starts, that's all fades to the back, and then the cream kind of rises to the top. But I think in your approach to the game and your sense of urgency, I think especially losing in the state championship last year, I think that gives you a different mentality going into it this year.
All right, in the final, the 7A game, we got Tupelo that I know won a state championship like 30 years ago. And we got Brandon, and I'm not sure about Brandon's history in this. I know they've been there a few times. Tell us about what you think about that matchup.
Yeah, Brandon, most recently against, I believe it was Madison Central, they lost to in Hattiesburg 14-7, and then they lost to Starkville. So it's they're kind of like the Buffalo Bills of the Mississippi high school football right now. I honestly think that Brandon has been the most talented team in Mississippi the last couple of years, they just have not been able to get over the hump, either in the South State Championship or in the championship game. But this is a different Brandon team. I mean, they've got a young quarterback, Slayton Shack, who's really good. They've got a couple of weapons on the outside, Jay McQueen, a couple other guys. And they've got the running back is the real story. I mean, he's incredible. Tyson Robinson, he's just a sophomore, but I promise you guys, by the time he graduates, he'll be ranked among the best backs in the country if he stays healthy. He's an incredible talent, and they have a lot of weapons on offense. The question for me with Brandon is the defense, whether they're going to be able to hold up. Tupelo is a more physical football team than Brandon is. They're really big up front. They got the Mr. Football winner, J.J. Hill, in the backfield. And Ty Harden, definitely, their coach, he wants to shorten the game. I mean, he wants it to be a physical ball game, low-scoring game, rain if he can get it. It's that kind of game. I mean, you've got a stark contrast between these two play styles. I mean, Tupelo wants to play good defense, run the football with Hill. If you watched any of the North State Championship against Madison Central, they got stronger as the game went on. They just, they weren't getting much success in the middle in the first two quarters, but towards the end of the third quarter and definitely in the fourth, you could tell a difference. So that's the kind of game they want to play against Brandon. The big test for Brandon will be whether they can if they can put up some points early and get Tupelo out of their comfort zone, make them throw the ball down the field instead of relying on, short 3, 4, 5 yard gains. Then I think that suits Brandon perfectly. But it'll be interesting to see if they can do it. I know Brandon has come out firing in state championship games. I mean, I think they threw the ball on 8 of their first 9 plays when they were facing Madison Central, and then again against Starkville. So I expect them to try to put up some points early, try to get a lead, and just go from there. I mean, I think that's the recipe for them. If they end up in a low-scoring affair that's close late, with Tupelo driving with a chance to win, I think that's probably the best recipe for Tupelo.
Tyler, this is Marshall, and it's that time, man. I just want to say this. If anybody's listening to this doesn't have a clue what's going on in the state championships this week, it's their own fault because you did an outstanding job of summarizing that and bringing it all together. Thank you for being with us, Tyler.
We really appreciate you guys.
All righty. Hold on for just a minute. Dale and I are going to take a break to hear from one of our sponsors, and we'll be back with tonight's final segment of the Brouhaha right after this commercial break.
Phillips Building Supply in Laurel, your hometown building supply store since 1954. We are locally owned and pride ourselves on helping our customers find exactly what they need. From foundations to roofs to doors and windows, Phillips has it. For tools, hardware, lumber, and plywood, visit Phillips Building Supply.
Welcome back, everybody, for the final segment of tonight's Brouhaha. I'll tell you what, if you don't know what's going on in Jackson, in Hattiesburg this week, that's your own fault because Tyler broke it down pretty good, didn't he?
He did. He gave us a lowdown on it all, and looks like still don't know about the 7A game, but Tupelo's a mystery. They're too far north. I wonder if Elvis is going to come to the game.
I don't know. I hope he does.
There you go. Anyway,
Who knows?
Who knows?
He may. He may break it all.
And anyway, I think 6A. I think I think it's going to be a close game, and I think Hattiesburg playing at home might ease through it.
They're going to miss those 2 defenders.
Yeah. If they don't play, I'd give it a Grenada surely. 5A, I look for West Point to win. 4A, I'm like Tyler. It's hard to bet against Louisville, but I got to tell you, I'd like to see Poplarville win. 3A, let me see. 3A was Knoxville County. I think they'll win. 2A, I believe that Heidelberg will pull the upset this year and beat Charleston. And I think in 1A, I'm going to go with Simmons because they never lose in the state championship.
Oh, yeah. Well, far be it for me to argue with that.
Okay. So what you got?
I don't know. Have we talked about the college football? Did we do that in the first segment? We talked about that.
I don't really remember. I'm old and I can't remember things from far a long time ago.
Well, the committee's working on the update on their poll as we speak. It probably may be coming out about simultaneous with us. They try to line up with what we're doing.
Now, are they going to have one this week, or are they going to wait till after?
I don't know.
I know they're going to have one Sunday at 11 a.m.
Yeah, well, maybe they won't have one this week.
I think they're going to wait till Sunday at 11 a.m.
Okay.
I think they are.
All righty. Well,
But listen, folks out there, what we say is not always.
we're not
correct.
responsible for what we say. You take what we say with a grain of salt, because we will say anything.
But the final rankings will be out. So we got 4 teams left, okay? We got Ole Miss. We got South Carolina. We got Alabama. Let's say we got Miami. I'm just saying some of these teams here. So who we going to take? We got one team to take. We can take one
You talking about the SEC?
No,
When you say we?
I'm talking about we, you and I.
Okay.
Okay, we're discussing who should be the final pick.
Well,
Should it be Ole Miss?
we don't know who the first 11 are.
Oh, yes, we do.
Do we?
Oh, yeah. You didn't read the sideline view here.
Okay.
We've already pretty well established from the SEC. We're gonna have Texas, Georgia, and Tennessee. That's 3.
Okay.
Okay. The Big Ten should have 4. They're gonna have Ohio State, Oregon, Penn State, and Indiana.
Well, who are the 3 that the
7.
SEC is going to have?
7. Okay. We got Georgia, Tennessee, and Texas for sure. We got 4 from the Big Ten for sure. That's 7. Notre Dame is 8. Okay. Then you got 3 conference championships this week: the ACC, the Mountain West, and the Big 12. Okay. Their winners get to go. So there's 11 teams. We got one team.
Yeah.
Who we gonna pick? Ole Miss. Very deserving.
You talking about from the SEC?
Well, I'm just talking about between Ole Miss, Alabama, South Carolina, and let's throw in Miami. Which one of those 4 would you pick?
Alabama.
Okay.
That's who I pick.
Well, the only reason that I would out South Carolina, first tiebreaker, would be because they lost to both Ole Miss and Alabama. Mm-hmm. So they should be scratched. So then it comes down to Ole Miss, Alabama, and Miami.
Well, you said we stopped. I thought you were just going to pick
do you
one.
think
Now you
Alabama?
expanding the rules.
No, I'm just saying we're eliminating teams. Okay?
Oh, I thought we were just going to pick one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we are.
So who
now
we
we're
pick?
down. Okay.
Who
so
we pick?
are we eliminating South Carolina because they lost to Alabama and Ole Miss?
No, how many are we going to pick?
We're gonna pick one.
Okay, Alabama's my pick.
That's it.
Yes, it is.
It's over with.
Yeah.
You think Alabama's better than Ole Miss?
Yes.
You think Alabama's better than South Carolina?
Yes.
Think Alabama's better than Miami?
Yes.
Okay. Well then, that's it.
That's it.
Let's
What about
go.
you? Do you agree?
Write it down, folks.
Do you agree?
I don't care.
Oh, well, what do you think? I'm not going to, we're going to
Well,
show all night till you make your pick and tell me why.
hey, I'm all for Ole Miss, okay? But let me just tell you something. I don't really think they're playing really well, and I don't want them to go up in the playoffs and get embarrassed. Because if the number 5 team is probably going to be, it could be Texas if they lose to Georgia. It could be, and it could be a Notre Dame or even a Penn State if they lose to Oregon.
Yeah, but let's go back to our original thing now. Who do you pick? Out of the ones you said, I picked Alabama. Who do you pick? Over Miami, over South Carolina?
I'd probably, because of the wins that Alabama had in the conference, they beat LSU, Missouri, they beat Georgia, and they beat somebody else.
Sounds like we agree.
Yeah, we could. And I didn't want to.
It's killing you, man.
I was fighting it all the way. All the way to the goal line.
You put up a good fight, Dale.
Yeah. I was like Baby. I was going for that end zone.
Well, listen, folks, that's a good note to quit on. We got Dale, we're on the ropes here, so we're going to let him off the ropes. We want to thank you for being with us tonight. Thank our guest, Tyler Cleveland. We appreciate you listening. I want to remind you can follow us on our Facebook page at the Brouhaha, or all of our shows are archived for you to listen to on demand on our YouTube channel, the Brouhaha. But it's come to that time of the day or the night where it's time to say goodbye, Dale.
Goodbye, Dale.
Goodbye, Dale, and goodbye, y'all. We'll see you next week for more of the Brouhaha. Get us out of here, Jamie.
You've been listening to the Brouhaha with Dale McKee and Marshall Wood. Heard Tuesday evening, 6 p.m. on WABO. For more of the Brouhaha, follow us during the week on Facebook and WABO.